Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I am Ariel Shaw, the founder and president of Southern Crescent Women in Business. We encompass Henry County Women in Business, Fayette County Women in Business, and a few other chapters that we will be pushing out soon. So today I have Sylvestor Ford on the call today. Sylvestor Ford, for those who have attended anything that we have done in the past, he's been a supporter of our organization with alternative finance. He also sits on the board for the Clayton County Development Authority. When I noticed on last night, I don't know what time it was, it was pretty late, that they had approved some funding for small businesses. I thought, we have to get him on as soon as possible. And so I just appreciate Sylvestor hopping on with no haircut, no nothing. He said, okay, because I told him it's going to be video, and he was more than willing to come on. So Sylvestor, tell everyone who you are and what you do, and your role with alternative finance, as well as your role with the Development Authority for Clayton County.
Well, thank you very much, Ariel, for having me on. I'd like to thank the women in business in Henry County and Fayette County and all the chapters that you represent for having me here today. Please apologize my casualness, but I want to ensure people knew I stood on the side of maybe today is not the day to be getting back out there, as far as on not continue. I want to continue the social distancing. And I guess this is my statement by staying casual.
All right.
A lot of things over the last several weeks have led up to a lot of things, a lot of great responses throughout the state, throughout the country, and throughout our Southern Crescent region. One of the things that we are doing in Clayton County, and for any business that has a Clayton County address that's not inside one of the cities, but inside the unincorporated Clayton County, regardless where you live, if you have a business license that is in Clayton County, you are eligible to receive up to $2,500 in the form of a grant by showing only your business license and driver's license, of course, if who you are. So we think we have in Clayton probably one of the best programs for small businesses that are operating, whether within their home or as a brick and mortar operation or online. The only requirement, as I indicated, is to have a business license and a ID. Now, they are going to look and make sure that you are a real business. But outside of that, the task force that is governing that is eager to get out some funding to, or whether you can utilize the money for any purpose that is a legitimate business purpose, whether it's paying your employees, taking care of some business needs as far as for additional marketing. If you're brick and mortar, you might can use some of it for your rent. So it is a great program without any strings attached, without any payback obligations. And we think we're very hopeful that this is going to help some small businesses. And we're hoping to extend the program as we are in talks with the cities. That is something that we hope to see in the next several days to a week or so. We look forward to other communities around the Southern Crescent region.
Right.
That they will join in.
Yes.
And see that there is a vital need at this time, not only for the federal and state level, but for each individual community to take care of the needs of some of the small people, the small businesses that for whatever reason are being left out of the Paycheck Protection Program and also the EIDL loans. And there's reasons for their being left out. I think every responsible banker or responsible commercial finance broker as myself is working diligently to make sure people get their money, because basically in our world there is not a whole lot of money to be made if we don't get any work done. We just don't get paid for showing up. We have to get results.
Right. So, I want to applaud Clayton County Development Authority for being proactive. Not only are you guys providing funds, but you're actually providing grants, which means they don't have to be paid back, which is major. We had on last Friday, actually, the Henry County Development Authority as well as Invest Atlanta. So they Invest Atlanta also has a program. I hadn't seen any grants, but they're doing small business loans, which I think is still, great. I'm not sure where we are with Henry County yet, but those conversations are happening. But I want to applaud Clayton County. We have members who are within Clayton County area as far as their business license being located. So I just want to make sure that we had as much information, and just to say I am thankful to you guys to even put this out on the table, and I definitely appreciate you encouraging the other regional leaders to possibly look at what they can do on a local level, because I think it's important, because we call on businesses a lot to support initiatives, to fund things, to sponsor things. So to help head different task force, business leaders. So, when there's an opportunity to assist, I think it's very important. So are these for-profit businesses? And is any nonprofit a part of that?
Well, you know, if you have a business license that is a business in Clayton County, unincorporated, not if you went to one of the cities, such
Right.
as Forest Park, Riverdale, Jonesboro, Lake City, Morrill, that right now we're not going into those jurisdictions because we have to have the approval of the local mayor,
Municipality.
right, the
Right.
mayor and council of those municipalities. But in unincorporated Clayton County, if you have a business license, then there has been no restrictions that I have seen that would stop a nonprofit from being able to apply.
Awesome.
Now,
So
now
I know
what?
you want to talk a little bit because we're at 12:13. Before we switch, did anyone have any additional questions in regard to the loan, or not loan, excuse me, the grant by the Development Authority? We did send out the application, the link to the application. If you are on our email distribution list, tell me this: when does it go live and when does it end?
Well, we're hoping to go live this coming week. I think checks are going to be cut on Fridays. We hope that maybe this by next Friday that people will start getting their checks.
Awesome.
But we're making the program as I guess as stress free as possible. I hadn't seen a
And that's amazing.
yeah. I have to admit, I was one of the board members who thought maybe we should ask for a little bit more, but
I'm sure you were.
being I'm a banker, I just want to make I just have my own feelings about it, but I am supporting this program 100% as it stands right now because I just see the need. I see how the Paycheck Protection Program, the EIDL program, can be challenging for some business owners. And for those business owners who have just thrown up their hands and said, wait a minute, either I can't provide or maybe I have not had my books in order
Right.
in order to be able to obtain these loans from the government. Hopefully this will suffice far as to
Right.
allow for them to have some type of lifeline as we continue. But as we move into the next phase of money, talking about the PPP and the EIDL loan, I just want to emphasize that if you have put in a request and have not heard back from your bank, especially on the PPP, and if you're a smaller client that has less than 10 employees, payroll less than $50,000, you might want to reconsider where you're going to take your application to. What we have seen in that arena, the big banks for whatever reason. And I can understand they're getting paid on a commission basis. As far as the big banks are, the small people like us will really have to work with our customers. But being that if they've got a $300,000 request and they got a lot of them versus smaller requests at 5,000, 10,000, you know, and it's a shame how the program was put together, but they're going to look at the $300,000 request. That's where they're going to be putting their emphasis. You know, as we saw, you know, I was disappointed to see that companies such as the Shake Shack and Ruth Chris took the money or got that much money, but I can understand why they did because, you know, they're corporate publicly traded companies who have if they did not take the money initially, which they're going to have to pay back, they're going to have to give back because that wasn't designed for them. But because the rules were put together so quickly, some of these big corporations took the money that should be going to small business. That should be going, but that's going to change.
Right.
I am encouraging all small businesses to, you know, our company is one of the companies that are working with small businesses. We have a special link and portal that we are working with our small lenders for people who on the PPP who qualify for less than 25,000. I think that's small business all day long. And we can send you that link. We do have fees that are involved. We talk to everybody individually about that. But you know, this round of funding is really, really, really directed at the small person who did not, small business owner who, for whatever reason, the big banks did not get to. And one of the things I'm sharing with people, your small commercial finance brokers, your small banks, as far as some of the community banks you have in Henry County, in Clayton County, in Fayette County, we've got to stop thinking that the big banks have the best interests of the smaller customers.
Correct. I agree. So I know that was one of the things that I mentioned to the ladies to definitely make sure you guys are looking at community banks. I know there was a call to definitely make sure certain community banks that may have been probably more run by minorities, for lack of a better way of saying it, were included in this additional round of funding because they may have not been. So I think this second round will definitely be better. But I wanted to know, did anyone have any specific questions? One about the Development Authority grant. So because Sylvestor wears a couple of hats, he actually hasn't included, we didn't include everything in here. But because he wears a couple of hats with alternative financing, he has provided an option for people to go through him to, because you're not necessarily a community bank, but what do you call yourself?
Well, what we do, just like we do in normal circumstances, as far as we are a commercial finance broker,
commercial finance broker. Okay. Yeah.
And as a commercial finance broker, we deal with the SBA program all day long with clients who don't know what bank will finance their loan. As far as whether it's an SBA loan, whether it's alternative financing, we have some. You know, one of the great things about this program on this round is that, and I have to commend Senator Mark Rubio for ensuring that what we call the alternative lenders who are used to getting money out to their customers, 2, 3, 4 days, they have allowed for those lenders now to be able to play a role in this process. No, don't believe the hype that they're going to charge all these. They are staying within the same guidelines as your community banks are. And you know, a lot of banks will throw all that hype out to you to tell you to give them their application, and in order to, because there's competition between the marketplace lenders, as many of us call it, and the community bank. Not community banks, but the big banks. But our lenders we put in some applications last night when the portals began to reopen. And several of my clients this morning have already shared with me that the alternative lenders that I placed them with was calling them already this morning. You're not getting that kind of service from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, SunTrust, the greater banks as they are. If you're, we're in that particular division is specializing on loans that are $25,000 and under,
Right.
you're not getting that kind of customer service from the big banks.
Right. Right. So, again, we just want to know, do you guys have any additional questions about the Development Authority grant? So it's live now, basically. Is there a cap or deadline? I guess when you guys are out of funds, that's when they'll determine it's closed.
Right.
Yeah.
Being that the maximum loan is $2,500, and we have a pool of funds for $500,000 at this point. We're hoping that some of the other concerns, whether they be banks, whether they be some of the large corporations, and I'm reaching out right now and saying, if you're a large corporation that has done well in Clayton County, in the Southern Crescent, if you have any excess funds as far as that were directed for charities this year, or just for other
That's
social,
good. That's really good.
other social events that cannot take place now in the post-COVID-19 world,
Right.
contact our development authority, our chairman, either Larry Benson or our executive director, Ms. Erica Rocker Wills, or our vice chairperson, Regina Deloach, and let them know that you, as a large corporation, you want to do your part and contribute to helping small businesses survive, because those small businesses are businesses that are doing business with some of those large corporations, whether we're
Right.
talking about large banks or we're talking about some of the other larger concerns that are inside Clayton County and the rest of the Southern Crescent.
That's really smart and really proactive. So I applaud you on that as well. Definitely. So if there are no questions, so how do people reach you if they're wanting to go the alternative way of financing versus going through the big banks, which I am not saying don't go through, but I am saying that as you have all seen the last go round, that there were issues in getting funding for small businesses. Now I know the new PPP funding, there is supposed to be some regulations put in place that make sure the real small businesses are actually getting funding. But how do they reach you, Sylvester?
Yeah, my number is 678-896-6476. That's 678-896-6476. Our email is alternativefinance@hotmail.com. And also you can go to our website, www.whenbanksayno.biz. Again, that's www.whenbanksayno.biz, and go into our contact information and to put information there, and we will get back with you. We're working 7 days a week, just like many of my small bank counterparts, in order to get this funding out to the small business community, because and we want to give people hope that even though it's going to be tough, and then I think, Ariel, we talked about it's going to be tough. Anybody who tells people that it's not going to be tough after this as we begin to reopen, because eventually we're going to have to reopen as a community. I think Clayton County is opening back up May 4th, for as government people are called back.
Okay.
I know that the state is opening back up today in some aspects, and I just like to say, those businesses that want to have that opportunity, but there is not a mandate that you open. If you still feel that social distancing is something that you cannot properly do as a business at this point, or uncomfortable in doing it, I don't think anybody should take the request or the okay that you can open back up as a mandate, whether you are on the business side as a business or as a individual customer, that you have to go out and get involved in that. But eventually, we've got to think about how do we do this? How, I guess
Now,
that
Sylvester, you're on one of the state boards, correct?
yes, I was, I guess, by Scott Hilton, our first, who's Lisa Butcher, or Georgia First, where we're going to be looking at all the different regulations that impede business. I think that's a very important committee. I think they've offered me, I think either the education or the entrepreneur committee. I think I'm going to be on. I'm going to request the entrepreneur committee. We were about, as this COVID-19, I was Scott Hilton, who's the executive director, has indicated right as this COVID-19 problem was beginning to just call them back and share with them what committee. They have a tremendous number of committees that are looking at different issues that affect small businesses. For instance, some of the licensing requirements that they have for some of the more simpler jobs are outdated. And I also think it hurts people, returning citizens who are returning back from incarceration. I think that we have to look at taking those kind of guidelines and regulations that stop them from doing things that are very simple. And also, I think we've got to look at taking away regulations that were put in place to protect some of the major corporations from having any type of competition from the small guys. That's how I'm going to be looking at it and approaching it from that standpoint, because there is no need for some of the regulations that are on the books to be there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your time. I definitely appreciate you coming in very quickly and at the last minute. I appreciate everyone who has dialed in, called in, zoomed in, however you want to say it. This is going to be recorded. So again, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask Sylvester, which is why we do a lot of the live, because we can pre-record certain things and push it out. We want to make sure that we're giving you an opportunity to use your voice. So if you have any questions, let us know now. Again, the applications have been pushed out. If you are on our email distribution list, if you are not, please get on it. And the applications for the Development Authority, they are grants. You have to be an unincorporated, you have to have a business license in unincorporated Clayton County to participate. And it is a grant. It is not a loan. You do not have to pay it back. It's up to $2,500. They're approving them pretty quickly. Their requirements are pretty lax, which is a good thing. I know Sylvester probably wants it a little more stringent, but I'll just say, just to make sure that people aren't, feeling overwhelmed by getting things together. And again, this is a good time, if you did have a practice with the PPP, and I would say don't remove your application if you already had one in. Definitely just make sure your application is still sitting in, that you've contacted your lender. Because Sylvester also represents alternative finance, he's also offered his services as well. And Sylvester, are you able to type in the chat your information? I know you put it in,
Yes, I
said
can.
it, but if you can put it in the chat, that'll be good as well. So I know he has a call, and I also have another call at 1:00 as well. So Sylvester's putting in his telephone number as well as email address and your website. So everyone, enjoy your Friday. We will be putting out information as it comes available. Again, make sure you are following our COVID-19 page. We're putting up as much information, vetted information that is applicable to small businesses, specifically more women in business. And if you come across anything that you feel that we need to know about as well, or if you have a certain service or expertise that you want to provide at this particular time, um, let us know that as well. So as for Southern Crescent, we are not opening back up today or Monday. And we're just going to continue to practice social distancing. So a lot of our things we can do virtually. Our next event wasn't planned until June. We're kind of looking at that a little bit. We're looking at that just to see if we need to even push it back a little bit further. But right now, it's not to the end of June, which I think is a really good date. We kind of looked at some things to determine that date. So if there are no questions, you all have an amazing day. And okay, Facebook. Yes, I saw that. Saw Sam's Club. Saw that as well. Thank you, Andrea. She said Facebook is giving away loans for 4,000 for Fulton County and Sam's Club. I believe I did see Sam's Club. So I like to go through certain processes to make sure everything is what it is. Again, we try to vet before we put stuff out just to make sure everything is valid. But you have used it, so we will definitely make sure that we take a look at those again, and we'll push those out as well. Is there anything going on in Henry County? So Metamorphosis Powerhouse company. So as we mentioned, so the Development Authority was on for Henry County was on Friday. At this time, they don't have anything that they are offering specifically to small businesses. That communication is still going on. I think this might be a little bit of a nudge, seeing what the Development Authority in Clayton County is doing, as well as Development Authority in the city of Atlanta, because they were on as well on Friday. So it may be that push that they need to figure out what they can do. So again, we're keeping a close eye on that, and we're definitely in communication with folks just to see that there is some type of information. Is there anything on it? Okay, thank you. We support 6 counties. Okay. All right. So you have to email me some information. Um, and you support 6 counties. You got to let me know that as well. Yeah. So the Development Authority for Clayton County, nonprofits are not off of the table as far as funding, as long as you have a business license in unincorporated Clayton County. That's an option. Again, specifically Henry County, we have not seen anything. Only thing we're seeing for Henry County, let me be clear, is the McDonough. McDonough has created a small business fund. So that's also on the COVID-19 page on our website, which is www.scwibga.org. Yes, so U.S. Chamber of Commerce, they're actually out of funding. Yeah, we pushed that out whenever those, I think that was Monday. So those went, okay, so you're in McDonough. Awesome. Definitely check that out. So the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, unfortunately, was inundated with applications, and they're out. They have no funding at this point. They have, we pushed it out. They went live at noon on Monday. Actually, noon their time. So it was 3:00 our time, and they actually sent out an email saying that there's no more funds. So we're looking to see what additional opportunities there are, and how we could also assist as well. So again, everyone, I would just say, and be encouraged, stay positive. Anything you can apply for. Grants, definitely, because you don't have to pay those back. Loans, be careful, because you want to make sure that you can actually pay those back. And anything else you want to say, Sylvester? You're going
All
out.
I
I
would
can't hear
say
you.
is that,
Okay.
can you hear me?
I
All
can
I would
hear you.
say is that business owners, take this time to take a look at your business,
Yeah.
see how you're going to have to reposition your business. And what I've just been telling people, take a look at big corporations that are in your industry that do the same thing that you do.
Mm.
See how they are beginning to reposition themselves for a post COVID-19 world, and begin to look at their strategies and see how those strategies can be incorporated in your business so that you can come up with new revenue ways to generate revenue for your company, new ways to bring customers in, and new ways to have a conversation with your customers.
Absolutely.
I think that's going to be very important. I think also if you have people who might have what you call or friendly competitors in your marketplace, this is time for you to get together with what is looked upon as friendly competitors and talk about collaboration. Because I did not finish reading an article earlier today. They're saying 20% of the companies, and they're talking about publicly traded companies also, might have to either merge, be acquired, or could possibly no longer be the company that they are today. So collaboration is going to be the key to a survival in many different industries, because it's just not going to be with number of people who are being laid off or going to be downsized or have to take less money. That means that your customers are going to have less money to spend. So
Right.
if you're all able to combine your resources and your activities and reduce overall overhead, then that is another way in which you can look at it in being able to survive, and even in many instances be a much stronger company together than you are as separate individual companies today.
Absolutely. I agree with all that.
So those are things that I'm seeing. I'm inundated all day long with news articles from our lenders, news articles from a lot of different sources, both on the conservative side, both on the liberal side, on the progressive side, and just trying to take all the information, not making a determination whether because it's this or that is good or bad. What's in the best interest of our small business clientele?
Right.
And that's what I recommend to everyone on the call, and to share that information and to start having a new conversation about not just what's going on today, but what will things look like 6 months from
Absolutely.
now. Thank
Well, I
y'all very much.
appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw. Thank you, Women in Business from Henry County, Fayette County, and Clayton County. I thank you for being here on the call and taking the time to listen to the conversation today. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Maybe not up on the social distancing. Hopefully it'll be a great day. We won't have to worry about this. But until then, just practice safe social distancing, wear
Right.
your mask, wear your gloves, because the life you save might be your own.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have an awesome Friday, guys.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.